Wonderful to see all of you here this morning. Here at Entry Point, we believe that God is the universal power of love. And we also believe that we each have our own way of finding and communicating and connecting to and demonstrating what God is. And we believe that God is the source of love. So we provide that opportunity or entry point for each person to be able to make that connection with God. Today, our guest speaker is my dear friend, my dear theater friend, Brian Nichols. He and Patty have become part of us. They've been attending for several months now. He will be talking with us about a very important concept, and that is how stress impacts our life, and give us some principles on what we might be able to do with that. You know, I went to the doctor the other day because I was feeling some stress, and she advised me to drink some herbal tea after a hot bath, and I just don't think it's working. I cannot even finish drinking that hot bath. Thank you. So be sure to check your program for announcements. We have this coming Saturday is our bingo night. If you're interested in joining us, please know that all are welcome. We are actually going to sell tickets for that event. You can see Debbie March. Debbie is in the middle right there. You can go and purchase your tickets so you can be ready for that event. Doors will open at 4 and bingo begins at 5 o'clock. We'll be out of here by 7:30. Let's get back to our service on stress.
I just want to be okay, be okay, be okay. I just want to be okay today. I just want to be okay, be okay, be okay. I just want to be okay today. I just want to feel the day, feel the day, feel the day. I just want to feel something today. I just want to feel the day, feel the day, feel the day. I just want to feel something today. Open me up and you will see. I'm a gallery of broken hearts. I'm in every place, so let me be. And give me back my broken parts. I just wanna know today, know today, know today. I just wanna know something today. I just wanna know today, know today, know today. Know that maybe I will be okay. Open me up and you will see. I'm a gallery of broken hearts. I'm in every place, so let me see. I'm giving back my broken parts. Just give them back my pieces. Just give them back to me, please. Just give me back my pieces. And let me have my broken parts. I just wanna be okay, be okay, be okay. I just wanna be okay today. I just wanna be okay, be okay, be okay. I just wanna be okay today. I just wanna feel today, feel today, feel today. I just wanna feel something today. I just wanna know today, know today, know today. Know that maybe I will be okay. Know that maybe I'll be okay. Know that maybe I will be okay.
The message this morning, and I'm going to be bringing you, is meant to distress you. Now, some of you might be thinking, why would I come to church to hear a message about being distressed? Let me enunciate just a little bit more clearly. I'm wanting not to distress you, I'm wanting to de-stress you. Now, I would venture to think that all of us have some sort of stress in our lives. If you don't, you can tune it out. But Jane Wagner once stated, reality is a leading cause of stress amongst those in touch with it. And I think everybody in here is in touch with reality, so it's probably safe to say we all have that stress and could benefit from this message. And even the dinosaurs had stress. At the company where the T-Rexes worked, they were stressed because they were short-handed. So, well, let's ask ourselves, what is stress? Stress generally refers to the psychological perception of pressure on the one hand, and the body's response to it on the other. And there are all sorts of things in life that can stress us out, or they're also called stressors. We have financial stressors, car payments, car repairs, bills, home repairs, mortgages, taxes. We have personal stressors, sibling rivalry, some unflattering moments with our significant other. Professional stressors, long hours, too little pay, workplace drama, threats of layoffs. External stressors, traffic on the roads, fear of the coronavirus, irregular weather. Medical stressors, suffering from some sort of chronic condition, worrying about the results of a medical test, or even trying to help our aging parents with their health issues. And finally, internal stressors, self-doubt, low self-esteem, and anxieties. So it probably appears to be all doom and gloom, because we all have many of these stressors in our lives. They're inherent to our very existence. So I'd like to take a few moments this morning to talk about the ABCs of de-stressing. First, we need to let stress abate. In other words, we can't stop much of the stress we feel from occurring, but we can have it abate, cease its hold upon us. We need not look any farther than nature itself. Now, it might surprise you if I were to tell you that all mammals react to stress in the exact same way. Now, let's do a Biology 101 lesson, take ourselves back to school for a minute, remembering that animals are warm-blooded creatures with hair or fur that bear live young. Now, where the duck-billed platypus fits into this, I don't know, but let's go with it. So on the savannas of Africa, we have two kinds of animals. Those who are being eaten, and those who are intent on eating. And we've all seen those National Geographic videos where the lion is chasing the zebra for its meal, and sometimes it catches the zebra, and sometimes it doesn't. So the lion and zebra, both mammals, have stress. The lion has stress of wanting to eat, and the zebra has the stress of not wanting to become a savanna snack. So when the incident is over, the lucky zebra who escapes goes back to its grazing and resumes as though nothing at all has happened. Its stress abates. And the zebra goes on as though that stressful moment was never part of its life. Now we too, like being a mammal, are built to snap back out of stress in the very same way. The only difference is that we humans tend to hang on to the stress, prolonging its effects on ourselves for long periods of time. Now, if we humans were that zebra, we wouldn't allow ourselves to snap back like the zebra does. We probably would say, well, that was close. What if I had stumbled? Or, gosh, I hope I looked graceful to the other zebras as I was running away. Or maybe, what if there's another lion nearby and he's going to come out and get me? We would be worrying about all that stuff. The zebra just snaps back. And that's what we tend to do with all the stress in our lives. This hanging on to stress wreaks havoc on our physical and our psychological and our emotional well-being. In fact, the American Institute of Stress, I never knew there was such a thing, but there is, says that about 33% of people report feeling extreme stress. 77% of the people say that that stress affects their physical health, and 73% of the people say that that stress affects their psychological health. So next time we allow that stress to fester within us, we need to let it abate. Not dwell upon it, not obsess over it, but let it go. As the song from the movie Frozen says, let it go. Next we have balance. We need some sort of balance. We need balance to bring ourselves into some sort of well-being. Now, well-being is that state of balance or alignment between body, mind, and spirit. And in this state, we feel content, connected to purpose and people and community, peaceful but resilient, energized and safe. In other words, we are flourishing. And this alignment may vary from person to person, but we all know what that alignment means to us. Now, many of us have an idea of what this balance is, but we put it off. It's always down the road, and we think we will someday arrive at its destination. All the while, along the way, we make ourselves miserable in the present by not attaining that balance, that sense of well-being all along the journey. It's been anonymously noted, stop waiting for Friday, for summer, for someone to fall in love with you, for life. Happiness is achieved when you stop waiting for it and make the most of the moment you are in now. When you're in a perpetual state of stress, not having that balance to achieve a sense of well-being, your journey to achieve it will result in endless roaming and wandering without reaching a destination. I sort of liken it to a warm summer night in Indiana, humid night, and we have our porch light on, and around that porch light we see moths flying around it. Now those moths so badly want to reach that light, but when they get to the light, they just bounce off of it, never really achieving what it wants. It allows its sense of happiness, its sense of fulfillment, its well-being to be muddled, and never gets what it so badly desires. We do the same when we let our sense of well-being become unbalanced. Next, we need to connect. Connect to others. Connect to nature. Connect to God. We're not on this vast mass of planetary matter made of land, air, and water all alone. We have the opportunity to connect with that which makes us stronger. Proverbs 12:25 tells us, "Anxious people feel the weight of the world. A single kind word can lighten that burden." We can get that kind word from the support and assurance of family and friends, from mindfulness and meditation, from prayer and from faith. There's a story of an old man who lived in Minnesota, and he wanted to spade his potato garden, but it was very hard work and he was getting older, just wasn't physically able to do it any longer. And his only son, who would have helped him, was in prison and was going to be there for some time. So the old man wrote a letter to his son. He says, "Dear son, I feel pretty stressed because it looks like I won't be able to plant my potato garden this year. I hate miss doing that because you know your mother used to always love planting time. I just get too old to be digging up this garden plot. I'm not able to do it. If you were here, all my troubles would be over. I know you would dig that plot for me if you weren't in prison. Love, Dad." Shortly thereafter, the man gets a reply through a telegram from his son. It says, "For heaven's sake, Dad, don't dig up the garden. That's where I buried the guns." So about 4 in the morning the next day, a dozen FBI agents and local law enforcement officials came to dig up that garden, and they found no guns. So, confused, the old man wrote back to his son and said, "What happened?" and asked him what to do next. And his son's reply was, "Well, go ahead and plant your potatoes, Dad. It's the best I could do for you from here." So the old man was stressed about the inability to no longer be able to cultivate his garden. He reached out to his son, tried to get that connection to help him through his stress. Renowned clinical psychologist Harriet Lerner punctuates this idea by observing, "Only through our connectedness to others can we really know and enhance the self. And only through working on the self can we begin to enhance our connectedness with others." So there you have it. You have the ABCs of de-stressing. A, we want to allow stress to abate, not hold on to it. We want to avoid prolonging it, much like the zebra does after it's escaped the sharpened claws of that pouncing lion. B, we want to have some sort of balance, seeking that sometimes elusive sense of well-being in which we are in harmony with mind, body, and soul. And C, we want to connect with friends, with family, with all that is spiritual, with God. We know we all need that support and love as we make that journey through life. Now, when I was a child, public buildings, and including school buildings, had fire extinguishers in a case on the wall. Now, we have those today, but the only difference back then was there was not a door to open up. It was covered with a plate of glass. And stenciled across that glass, it said, "In case of emergency, break glass." And they had like a metal rod dangling off to the side, and you were supposed to crack the glass, pull out the extinguisher, and put out the fire. You probably were successful putting out the fire, but you probably had to get 9 stitches afterwards. So I'm glad we have the door now. But we need to learn in our own lives to break that glass, to not allow stress to overcome our daily existence, our happiness, our own self-actualization, and our well-being. Break out that glass, pull out the extinguisher, and put out the flames of stress which consume us. I'll leave you with this analogy, and I'm sure you've heard this quote many times, but I think it's applicable to today's message. A diamond is a chunk of coal that did well under pressure. A diamond is a chunk of coal that did well under pressure. We must ask ourselves today, how do I hold up under that pressure? Am I disintegrating my mind, body, and spirit and pulverizing into coal dust? Or am I just at a level of barely maintaining, remaining a blob-like, unsightly lump of coal? Or am I emerging as a beautiful, sparkling diamond of clarity, living a fulfilling and meaningful life? Amen.
Where are you now when darkness seems to win? Where are you now when the world is crumbling? Oh, I hear you say, look up, child. Hey, look up, child. Hey, where are you now when all I feel is doubt? Oh, where are you now when I can't figure it out? Oh, I hear you say, look up, child. Hey, look up, child. Hey, look up, child. Hey, look up, child. Hey. I'm walking up and shaking by the storm. I know you're in control. Even in the suffering, even when it can't be seen, I know you're in control. Oh, I hear you say, look up, child. Hey, look up, child. Hey, look up, child. Say, look up, child. Say, look up, child. Oh, yeah, look up, child. I hear you say. Look up, child. Hey, look up.
Well, thank you for choosing this faith community. We know that you have many options on a Sunday morning. We thank you for choosing this one. We think we're pretty special in that there is great freedom here. Brian, thank you so much for sharing your important message with us today. Patty and Brian have a parting gift for each of us as we leave, something that might help us a little bit with our stress. Next week, we will honor the best month of the year. March Madness is coming. I will be speaking about getting in the game and a few lessons from the sport of basketball. Now, I've never played, but there's a lot of lessons to be learned. Please make plans to attend that. We'll see you this Saturday if you want to play bingo. Have a great Sunday and go in peace. Amen.